Thank you, Brenda. That was beautiful. Good morning, one and all. Happy Christmas Eve to you. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fayetteville. My name is Reverend Renée Jansky, your Associate Minister and Music Director, and I'm so happy to be with you this morning. Unitarian Universalism is a religious tradition that values freedom in religious thought and acceptance for each individual's spiritual journey. For those of you joining us online, welcome. Friends, today there are no slides. Please have your gray hymnals ready because we will be flipping through these hymnals pretty fast with the Bible verses today. Old school, that's exactly right. We're out of practice, so get your hymnals ready. That's right. If you're new, please check out our website, UUFayetteville.org, for more information. And today and tonight, we will be using real candles at the end of the service. Please, of course, supervise your young ones, and let's all be careful. After the service is over, as you begin to exit, you may blow out your candles and leave them in the basket at the back. For those of you visiting us for the first time in person, you'll find a visitor's information card in the back of the seat in front of you. And we'd love for you to fill one of those out so we can get to know you better and invite you to join our email list for Fawn's Awesome Wednesday emails. Today we will not have our traditional joys and concerns. However, if you have a joy or concern that you'd like to share with me and the leadership, you are welcome to fill out a yellow joys and concerns card, also in the seat back in front of you, and drop it into the offering basket when it comes around later in the service. Young ones are always welcome in our services, and there is a qualified staffed nursery downstairs if you'd rather. And today of all days, please silence your cell phones. Beloveds, what can we, as Unitarian Universalists, learn from the Christmas story of the Bible? The story has been told over and over and over for hundreds of years. Is it possible that it is still relevant for us today? I thought about this question a lot this month as I prepared for today's services. And yes, I think we have something to gain from this so traditional story. Why were Mary and Joseph, the Holy Family, why were they so very special? Why? Was it because it must have been because they were perfect. Was it because they were perfect? Oh, no. Were they perfect in the eyes of their society? Absolutely not. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Mary was a pregnant teenager of color in a land that did not respect her ethnic group. Definitely not perfect in the eyes of society. Why were they the Holy Family? Why has this story passed the test of time? Why? LeAnda, will you light our chalice?
Good morning and Merry Christmas Eve. Before we light our chalice this morning, we're going to have a reading by John Hanley Morgan. We do this every year, I think. Let Christmas come, let it come. I know our problems continue. The world will not be the same after Christmas as it was before. Troubles will not go away. But let Christmas come, the season, the day, the special feeling of Christmas Eve, the good feeling of a good old day in which the child still living in us laughs in joy at the many-colored lights sparkling on the snow, the crackle of bright wrap packages shedding their skins of paper, the great music flowing along the streets, reminding of the hope of peace, a world someday really newborn. So, let Christmas come. Come then, old season ever new. We welcome you in love once more to every hearth and home. Let us light our chalice to the hopes of love and peace, welcomed once more into every home. And we don't have the slide, but if you know the words to our chalice lighting, please join me in lighting our chalice. Love is the spirit of this community, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and truth, and to help one another. Thus do we covenant together.
Please rise as you are able, and let's turn in our hymnals to number 224, Let Christmas Come.
If you will notice in your order of service, we had planned to do another reading. We're going to skip that today just for the sake of time. And we are going to move right along to the story of the birth of Jesus. Of the 4 Gospels collected in the Protestant Christian scriptures, there are only 2 accounts of the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem. Both of these Gospels were written nearly a century or more after the time of the birth of Jesus, and they were written for different reasons. Our narrative comes from the Gospel of Luke, which is known as the poor person's gospel. This gospel is a more simple Christmas story. There are no kings or rich wise men. They're just shepherds, angels, and a manger. This story portrays the family of Jesus as people who were raised him to understand a higher cause of love and care, to understand the plight of the working people, of shepherds and carpenters, of people who live on the margins of society. This is the person whose birth we celebrate, the birth of the message of every person's worth. The entire story takes place over the 2nd chapter of Luke, and we are going to start right there with the first verse. In those days, a decree went out from the Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration and was taken while Quirinius was governor of Syria. All went to their own towns to be registered. Joseph also went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, the city of David called Bethlehem, because he was descended from the house and family of David. He went to be registered with Mary, to whom he was engaged and who was expecting a child. If you will all remain seated, we're going to sing a verse of O Little Town of Bethlehem.
Oh
while they were there, the time came for Mary to deliver her child. And she gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him in bands of cloth and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them at the inn. Please remain seated as we sing hymn number 241, In the Bleak Midwinter.
In that region, there were shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. Then an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign for you. You will find a child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace among peoples." Okay, please remain seated as we sing one verse of hymn number 231, Angels We Have Heard on High.
Sweetly singing o'er the
When the angels had left them and gone into the heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger. We'll stay seated and sing the first verse of the first Noel.
When they saw this, they made known what had been told them about this child, and all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds told them. If you'll all remain seated, we'll do one verse of "It Came Upon the Midnight Clear," and that's 244 in your hymnal. But Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, as it had been told them. Please rise as you are able and sing the first verse of just one? Yes, one. Joy to the World. That's 245.
Be seated. Friends, As I was working on this reflection, I wasn't exactly in the Christmas spirit. I was worried about my holiday presents for my family and friends not being good enough, not being wrapped beautifully enough. I wasn't feeling pretty. I had found a bunch of new wrinkles, and I was feeling worried about bills and needing to make more money, and I was worried about not writing the perfect Christmas Eve reflection. And so I tried to clear my mind using some of my usual Buddhist tricks, but it didn't really work. I was frustrated. And I said aloud in my office to nobody, "This is not the perfect state of mind to write this reflection. This is not the perfect anything." And I cried. I burst into tears, and I felt broken. My hopes for perfection cracking like peanut brittle. In my opening words, I asked, why were Mary and Joseph the holy couple? Was it because they were perfect and in the perfect situation? No. Mary was praised for her lowliness. She was praised for hundreds of years for her humility. Dear ones, picture in your mind with me. Please think of a barn. Ideally, one that you've been in at some point in your life. Picture it. Got it? Think about the smells. Think about what you see. Okay, now really try to imagine a pregnant lady and a baby being born in there. Try to imagine this barn with a baby being born in there. And then, lying the baby that the angel told her was going to be the savior of the world, that baby, imagine lying that baby in an animal's food dish. Y'all, for us, that seems preposterous, right? Our health and safety standards of today, even for the most naturalistic, organic of us, a barn where animals live and eat and poop is not the safest or the cleanest place to give birth to a baby. Okay, stay with me here. There are all these depictions of the Christmas Day Mary serenely holding a perfect baby, right? Mary is, well, first she's white, and which is ridiculous, and she's perfectly dressed in a traditional head covering and flowing robes, often with a small smile on her face. We've all seen those pictures and those statues and the religious iconography that depicts the perfect Christmas day. Well, okay, maybe that's how it went down. But y'all, this teenager had just had her labor while riding on a donkey cross country, had a natural childbirth in a barn by herself, except for some animals and an almost husband, question mark. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't think it was as perfect a picture as has been shown to us in religious art. I'll bet for sure it was not as perfect as Mary would have liked for this baby that the angel said was going to be everybody's everything. I'm even going to hazard a guess that she felt a little broken. And maybe she looked a little more disheveled than those lovely art pieces tell us. Well, and maybe this is the point. This holy family was tired and broken and in need. Through their very brokenness came tremendous grace. And what do I mean by that? Well, I don't think I have to tell you about the infant mortality rate and how many women died during childbirth back in those days. It was a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. But Mary did it. She handled it like a boss. Yes, beloveds, grace came unto the Holy Family, and that grace looked like a healthy baby boy and a healthy mother. That was some serious grace for back in those times. Grace does not come to us when we are perfect. Grace comes to us when we need it. Grace comes to us when we are broken. Wait, grace gets in through our broken places, through our imperfections. We honor the Holy Family because, yes, their story is still one we need today. When society tells you that you need to be more successful, more rich, more beautiful, that you need to look so young and have the perfect body and have the perfect partner or partners and have the perfect children who are obviously very successful. When you want to have the perfect house, the perfect car, the perfect shoes, when I am supposed to have the perfect Christmas presents, and when I'm supposed to have them wrapped perfectly. Perfection is not how the grace gets in. What society tells us about what we are supposed to be is a lie. It's a lie. The perfection of Jesus' birth, well, I don't think that's true either, even though it's a pretty story. We do not receive grace when we are perfect because there's no room for it. We are too busy being perfect. This wonderful story invites us to go beyond letting go and seeking perfection. Of course, we're supposed to let go and not seek perfection, but it goes deeper than that. It invites us to look at and sit with, and dare I say, honor our brokenness, our imperfections. Not to hide them, not to try to escape from them, but rather sit with them, loving the parts of us that are imperfect. So as Unitarian Universalists, what message can we take away from the Christmas story? That it is the acceptance of our imperfections that lets the grace in. Yes, grace from a universal love. Yes, grace from each other. But most importantly, in accepting our imperfections, we can give grace to ourselves. Let's welcome into our hearts this age-old story of a humble birth with all of its imperfections. May we view our own lives with all their imperfections with as much reverence and glory. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Oh, and let's stand and sing Deck the Hall. Let's do it all. We've got plenty of time. Yeah, yeah. 2:35.
may all be seated. Incidentally, if any of you need a pick-me-up today, I invite you to come and check out the wrap job that I've done on my presents, and it will it will make you all feel much better about yourselves, I promise. The important work of this fellowship is possible because of generous contributions of time, energy, and talent, and money. Every contribution of every size is helpful and appreciated, and as we pass the offering baskets, we invite you to share financially. And if you prefer, you can give online at UUFayetteville.org. We also have a texting thing that we don't have up here, but it's probably in your order of service, or it's online. No, Fawn says no. And then we have a few announcements while we're passing the baskets. Mostly this, that everything that would normally happen this week is canceled. But we have two really important announcements. The first one is that next weekend is our Burning Bowl service, and it's kind of a travel weekend, and everybody's going to be out of town. So if you are able to help with that service, get with Natalie right here, and she would love to assign you a part. Also, Sue would like everyone to know that everyone is invited to an open house on New Year's Eve afternoon from 3 to 5 because it is Sue's 90th birthday. One more hymn.
One more hymn. Let's do it's the Let Christmas Come again. It's my favorite, so I like to do it twice.
Okay, yes, I see it now. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, this is hymn number 224, Let Christmas Come.
Let's stand. We are going to pass our chalice light around. Before we do that, though, the music director in me has to tell you that It Came Upon a Midnight Clear is the only famous Christmas tune written by a Unitarian. That's why you'll always see me having that in our Christmas service, even though it's not in the traditional Christmas Eve service. Does everyone have a candle with a little thingy? With a little holder. If you don't have a candle with a little holder, raise your hand and we will bring you one. Oh, that's great. Okay, so LeAnda will come down this side, Melly will go down that side, I will come down the middle, and we will pass our chalice light around while Brenda softly plays Silent Night. And try to clear your mind, friends. This season, this holiday season, it's hard. There's so much going on. There's so much to do. But clear your mind and let's enjoy this time together. And you're welcome to come back tonight, and we'll do it all again. Choir could come at 4:30, and the service is at 5:30. Okay. Now let's sing it together, and you may make your way out as you are done. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon Hallelujah.